Alright, shedding a little bit of light on this whole banking holiday August thing. This is a report by Tom Hennigan. He is an international intelligence expert and federal whistleblower. Red China successfully blackmails the Obama administration. Federal Reserve will be broke by August of 2009. The report goes on to say, United States of America, it can now be reported that the government of the People's Republic of China received over $5 trillion from the U.S. Treasury in the last 48 hours. The funds transferred to China was part of an agreement between the Obama administration and the PRC, which allowed the Chinese to then come in and support the U.S. bond market, which was on the verge of collapse. Given the imbalance created between short-term and long-term interest rates, aka the yield curve, the People's Republic of China has recently been using its surrogate puppet state, North Korea, as a vehicle of blackmail and extortion, all aimed at the Obama administration. The nuclear test by North Korea, along with the threats to cancel the 1953 Armistice Agreement that ended the Korean War, known as a truce, was directed by the highest level of the Red Chinese Communist government. The People's Republic of China recently confronted the Obama administration along with its dysfunctional U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton with evidence that former President George Herbert Walker Bush, former Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan, former President Bill Clinton and his wife Hillary Clinton, and New World Order thug former U.S. Secretary of State Henry Kissinger have been involved in a massive criminal Ponzi scheme that has looted trillions of dollars out of the Chinese sovereign fund. Assisting the Bush-Clinton crime family syndicate in this theft and extortion was the late Madam Wu, a major Chinese financial officer who had been compromised by rogue U.S. and Israeli intelligence assets in using the massive toxic derivative Federal Reserve Worldwide Ponzi scheme and its raid against the Chinese sovereign fund. Note, it was former Clinton Secretary of State William Cohen that used the noted information sharing policy and agreement between the U.S. and Red China during the 1990s that allowed the creation of secret offshore U.S. CIA Chinese intelligence proprietary accounts that set the foundation for what would become the massive financial catastrophe that has beset both the U.S. Federal Reserve and the Chinese Sovereign Fund. It should be also noted that the transfer of the $5 trillion to the People's Republic of China, authorized by the privately owned U.S. Federal Reserve, involved a wire transfer with the Bank of Hong Kong as the recipient bank. The Bank of Hong Kong, which is still jointly owned by both the PRC and the United Kingdom as a noted U.S. CIA British M16 Chinese Intel Box Bank, aka a clearinghouse for launching of stolen U.S. Treasury funds. We can also divulge that former British Prime Minister and Dunblane pedophile and war criminal Anthony Blair, known as Tony Blair, received a large commission tied to this massive theft of U.S. Treasury funds and Chinese sovereign funds, which found its way to the Bank of Hong Kong, which allowed Blair to use his illegal commission to replenish the coffers of Her Majesty the Queen of England, who is currently blackmailing the Obama administration, aka a $5 trillion loan that she made to former illegal White House occupant George W. Bush fraud that had not been repaid. We can report that British government is now cooperating with China in joint satellite and cyber attacks against the U.S. computer infrastructure and actually preparing for a possible World War III. I'm going to be covering this on my show tonight. I haven't set a time yet, but this is pretty alarming if this is true. It would definitely make sense. There's a lot more information involved, but nowhere near that I could put into 10 minutes of a video. Anyways, that's what my discussion is here in a couple hours. It is 3:30 right now, so I'm going to be going on the air. It is 3:30 right now. I'm going on at 5:30 in 2 hours over at Recharge Radio with this story. If you care to join us to get the full scope on this.